Profiler Tones and Talks, Season 2, The Legend Tributes. And again, here with Thomas Dill, who created all the Legend Tribute collections, the Rig Packs, collection number 4. And out of this one, we are now looking at the creation and the details to the tone of the Ventures. And here's the video where Thomas plays the tone from the Rig Pack. Legendary, the Ventures. I was, when we just chatted before this one about the Ventures, I called them the godfathers of surf. And you said, no, they didn't want to be.
They are not a surf band. They are, or they were. They play, these days they play live too, I think. They called themselves an instrumental group, instrumental band. Not really surf band, but they have much influence on surf bands, on famous guitar players like Jimmy Page, everybody. Here in Germany, they are not really, these days well known. So I have something for the younger guys. About the Ventures, because they are really, it's a great band. I love that.
Yeah, and it's incredible. Just to get into the zone a little bit, I checked out some of the YouTube videos which are out there, and it's still amazing. You see them for, I don't know, a second, and then you hear the tones, and you're totally back in the time where you most probably heard them on the radio first, and then, in the movies, I mean, Mr. Tarantino has a lot of references to that kind of music in his stuff, because it sets such a tone, such an atmosphere for a certain time, and clothing and how people were and the way they are on stage, and these simple chord progressions, and then these very relaxed but so intense melodies. That's just, and the tone and the guitar tone. And I mean, you have a Jaguar there, right? And there's this video out just a couple of weeks ago where the Premier Guitar guys visited Tim Pierce. And they were looking at his gear and stuff. And he has a very old pre-CBS Jaguar. And he put, to make it even more Jaguar-ish, flat-wound strings on it.
I saw that video.
That's also amazing. But enough of this.
But I need to say, this is a Jaguar, but it's not with the original pickups. I put in the some P90 pickups in there, because for me the Jaguar pickups, the originals, they had a little bit too low output, a little bit too much microphonic for that one. This is I think a Japanese version of the Jaguar, nothing fancy. And now with the P90s, it has a little bit more beef, more output, and for me it sounds great. So it's something between a Jazzmaster and a Jaguar, or the Jackmaster, name it like you want it.
Yeah, actually I was asking this because the video I saw, they used a Jazzmaster, I think. May this be true, or do you think they used a Jaguar?
Different. No, they had Jazzmasters.
Okay, so it makes sense. So it makes sense that you change the pickups to the more beefier Jazzmaster, because they were more like, they were not P90s, but they were more like
P90s. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, don't let me distract you all the time, because we want to know more about
The ventures.
the guitarist, and the background.
Okay, so here we are. Nokie Edwards is the guitar player on that track, Pipeline. The song was written by Brian Carmen and Bob Spickard, who were members of the Shantays, because the song was first released by the Shantays in December '62, and the Ventures released the song on their album Surfing. You see the cover right on the right, and it was released in '63, so really quick after the Shantays released them. And there are other versions, and a great version to listen to is from Stevie Ray Vaughan and Dick Dale. I think it's on an EP of Stevie Ray Vaughan, or at the Greatest Hits Volume 2 from Stevie Ray Vaughan. And here are the Ventures. You see, an instrumental band formed in 1958. 4 people, bass, drums, rhythm guitar, lead guitar, no vocals, no keyboards, no problems. As we said in an earlier episode.
Right. Shoot out to Ton, Engels, and Blowbeat.
Blowbeat, yeah.
Right. A question.
Question. Okay, we stop here.
You said they didn't want to be compared to or acknowledged as a surf band, but you said that the album, which this album was called
Surfing. But
didn't the surf stuff come then from this, because they called it Surfing? And so, do you know?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Because Dick Dale, of course, was the hero of surf sounds.
I think it started these. There were a lot in the early '60s. Mm-hmm. A lot of instrumental groups in America, I think, and this genre of surf style started somewhere from there. They were from. I think they were the first grunge band. They came from Seattle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And maybe they started some stuff, but they did a lot of recordings which doesn't have to do with this typical Dick Dale Tarantino surf sound. Mm-hmm. So some Christmas albums or something like that too. So it's not really, they have these sounds, but that was the sound at these days, a clean guitar amp, because there was not much of distortion. Mm-hmm. And some guitars with reverb, and that's it. So I move on. Mm-hmm. And interesting. Wait a minute.
No problem.
Just push the red button, and I would have been gone now. Okay. Rhythm guitar, lead guitar, bass, drums, and Nokie Edwards. You see him here in the middle. He started as the bass player in 1960. And then here you see him playing the guitar, because he swapped with Bob Bogle on the right here, who became the lead. Bob Bogle became the bass player, and Nokie Edwards became the lead guitar player. And on, I think, Walk Don't Run was Bob Bogle playing the lead guitar, and for Pipeline, Nokie Edwards, and on the further recordings, Nokie Edwards played the lead guitar. Mm-hmm. And now, the Ventures released 22 albums between 62 and 67. For 5 years, 22 albums. And that's not all. All but one reached the Billboard Hot 100. So this is huge. I don't know any artist who did that. So this is really much success. Just these things about the Ventures. And Nokie Edwards left Ventures in 1968. So coming to the guitars, he played Fender Telecaster guitars. We've talked about that, Fender Jazzmaster and Mosrite guitars. Very interesting. You saw them on the last picture. These were the days when the bands played everything the same. So same instruments, same amps. These days, you're using different instruments to get different sound combination and something like that. But the older days, everybody has to wear the same, play the same, maybe eat the same, or don't know what. So Mosrite guitars. Here we have a Mosrite 65 Ventures model, which was sold by the Nice Place store here in Frankfurt, Guitar Point. And interesting on that guitar, it looks really weird. Offset double cut construction with 2 single coil pickups, high output single coil pickups. So they were really much fatter than, that's what they said, much fatter than Jaguars or Jazzmasters. And they had an angled neck pickup. This is the opposite of Leo Fender's thoughts about the angled pickup. So you get here a warmer tone on the higher strings and a more tight sound on the lower strings. And the bridge pickup is normal, not angled. And it has a mostly vibrato unit, which is some kind of Bixby system with a spring in it. Okay, Nokie Edwards here at some older days played also an area Nokie Edwards Hitchhiker guitar, also offset model with 2, I think it's 2 humbucker guitars there. And here he is with a signature Telecaster. This is a limited run of Telecaster. I don't know which year it was. And 2 humbucker pickups, I think high output on that. Interesting, amps. They used Fender Dual Showmans. These were the loudest amps these days. A Silvertone combo he had, and of course Mosrite amps, because they had a deal with Mosrite to use their equipment, and I think they developed some stuff for Mosrite too, or gave them some ideas. And here we have the Dual Showman. It has a cap with 215 speakers. So this is, I think they didn't need a PA system in larger venues. They don't have a singer, so everything going into the crowd. And here's a Silvertone amp, a model 1474 reverberation twin 12 combo. So 2 12-inch speakers with reverb and a tremolo unit. And here is the Mosrite amp, the Mosrite Ventures amp. It's called the BG 500 Award, and it's a solid state amp. So these were the days in, I think, 65 when the transistors came up, and everybody thought, yeah, tube amps, old stuff. We don't need tube amps. We make solid state amps, and it's nice. It has this great stand here where you can angle the amp in the stand and move it with wheels. And this amp has a built-in reverb, vibrato and tremolo. You can switch between vibrato and tremolo, and a fuzz unit. The legendary Fuzz Ride. It's from Mosrite, a fuzz pedal, and they had that built in there. And what's interesting, Nokie Edwards played on a recording from 1964 with a fuzz sound. And everybody said that the first recorded fuzz sound was Satisfaction from the Rolling Stones, but that was in 65. Mm-hmm. So he's a bit earlier than Keith Richards, but I think not so successful as Keith Richards now.
Yeah, and referring here to again the amazing Josh Scott with JHS pedals, because there's a video out there where he completely destructs the history of fuzz and how it started and when the first recordings were. I forgot the details now, but that, of course, like so many things in our industry, happened by coincidence. And somebody tried to recreate that, and he knows all the details. So maybe we go there and try to find out what the story was there. Yeah,
professor of fuzzology.
Yes,
fuzzology.
And as you were showing the Mose ride, I just realized that maybe that's where my approach, because that wasn't a plan, it just happened, to this came from, because it's a Dan Electro. It's the thing like the same era as these Mose rides.
Yeah.
I changed it from the lipsticks to the humbuckers as well, and I've also this.
Yeah, the great.
The tremolo on there, and basically it gives you this punch from these early simple, and I don't know if the Mose rides, they were not so cheap, I guess, but they stem from the first warehouse guitars, like the Air thingy.
Airline,
right.
Yeah. And another nerdy fact about Mose Ride, they started, I think, in 65 building those solid state amps, but before they had tube amps. And they had a guy who made some schematics for tube amps. His name was Alexander Dumble. He worked for Mose Ride in the early 60s and created, I don't know, you somewhere in the World Wide Web you find some stuff about 17 to 20 amps, and they are really the holy grail, the first Dumbles. Mose Ride Dumbles. Everybody's searching. So if you have a Mose Ride amp, check that out. Maybe you have a $200,000 amp at home. Okay, going on with the Ventures and their sound effects. So in the 60s, there were no much effect pedals except the fuzz. So they were using maybe from the amp spring reverb, tremolo, and fuzz. So that's it with the sounds, or with the basics, what to use for that specific sound. Now coming to the Legends Tribute sound, which I did, going to the rig manager, and here we are. So my approach to that sound was an old school approach, and that means, you see it here on the right, no effects except studio EQ. And I placed every effect in front of the amp just to get a more dirty, more overdriven tone. And this is some like the Fender amps had spring reverb and the tremolo unit behind the spring reverb. And for the lead tone, I took a silver tone amp, just turning everything off. It's from, I think it's Michael Britt's collection. It's not a 1474, it's a 1481, but it has this and it's not really aggressive in the high frequencies. So if you're using for the Dick Dale sound in the, I think it was the Tribute Collection 3, I used a Fender amp. I think it was a Twin, and this Twin has more gnarly high frequencies, sparkling tone, and this is a more warmer tone because they had really warm tones on their guitar sounds, and especially for the lead tone. And of course, the studio EQ, just for getting some high cut and low cut to match the speaker frequency range, and a smart boost on the high gain. So at 2.3K. And that's a light cut on the mids at 600 hertz. So if you listen to a chord, it's a woolly sound here. And now it's more cleaned up a little bit. For me, it's important when you make some arrangements, recordings with more guitar tracks or more guitar players, you need to keep some frequency space for the other ones. So this sound would be too muddy, too low boosted. And the next thing is the spring reverb. Huge reverb. And of course, you need to hear this cluck sound. We had that already with those surf sounds. The dripstone parameter is turned up a little bit, but out, it would sound like that.
Like a
very
reverb.
normal. And here with the turn in. Great. I love that. So this gives you the human feeling on that tone. In these days, I don't think that they were using a delay unit, but I thought it sounds good. So we have a single delay placed in front of the spring reverb. So that's nice. It's just, I turn the reverb off. 142 milliseconds, feedback at 23%.
Oh, that's really
a little bit more as than a slapback. And the mix level is really high. A lot of high cut to get a warm delay tone. So the delay is smooth in the back. You don't really recognize that delay very much when you're playing rhythm or lead sounds. So especially when the reverb is turned on. And therefore, it's really great to have. So this is maybe some kind of a blueprint for a surf tone, a warmer surf tone. And of course, tremolo. These are the prepared effects then. So when you like to play the lead tone, this is it. Single delay, spring reverb, the amp, and a little bit of fine tuning with the studio EQ. Then adding the tremolo for the rhythm guitar part. This tremolo is set to a fixed value at 5.3 hertz. The speed, this is the speed here. If you like to use this rig for some other sounds, for some surf tones or something like that, and you need a tempo-based tremolo, just push the tap button once,
Mm-hmm.
and you have the speed in note value. And then you can choose maybe an 8 note, tap the tempo. Faster. So this is something when you see the settings of this tremolo, and you don't know where's the switch between note value and normal rate in hertz. So it's just one push at the tap button. And another thing which is very interesting for tremolo use, the tremolo has volume 10, volume 0. And sometimes you want to have the tremolo in time. Da, 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 da. And when the drummer starts playing, sometimes it's hard to set the 1 point for the tremolo. And this is some easy thing. Just push the button, the tap button, or the tap button on the remote or the profiler stage 1 time, and it's in sync. So this is, you set the 1 for the tremolo with just 1 hit at the
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Cool.
I didn't know either. Christoph told me that.
No, I know about the beat scanner, that when you keep the foot on the tab, then it reads playing and tries to find the beat and finds the beat. So, but just to get this to give the 1,
the
that's
1 is
also pretty cool.
One tap on the tap button.
Yeah.
Okay.
And another thing I just found, because as you mentioned, if you want to use that tone for something else, when you brought in the tremolo, I was reminded of Bang Bang, the Lee Hazelwood, Nancy Sinatra thing, and I just found out
that song. I don't know that song.
Don't know that song. All right,
I need to listen
that's
to that.
for a tribute collection number 5.
Okay.
It's amazing because it's a very woolly, as you always say, maybe a jazz master or even a Gretsch with a very a similar tone with this amazing tremolo, which is a big part of it. And I was just wondering, when was that? And that was 66. Bang Bang is 66. So I will send you the link afterwards.
Yeah, okay.
Also,
I will learn that.
An icon.
Okay, very much to check out. So another thing is, as I mentioned, the fuzz. The Ventures recorded the song House of the Rising Sun. This and Nokie Edwards played the lead part with a fuzz sound. This great sound, and then so it's a something like a gated fuzz sound. And I created that with the Kemper fuzz. Little bit of drive, volume turned up, trans shape at 3, trans tone at 3.3, and the octa parameter set really high. So you get this really cheap sounding fuzz tone. And this is just prepared if you like to have some fuzz and play some surf fuzz tones to it. Okay.
That reminds me that the Black Keys are in the studio right now. I just heard an interview with Patrick Carney from Sunset Sound in LA, because that's also, I think, a great tone for anything Black Keys.
like he's the Dan Auerbach is the fast man too. With Jack White is really great in nasty guitar tones.
Yeah, so shout out to Dan Auerbach. You could save a lot of schlepping if you try to get your stuff going with the profile. It would be interesting though, because he is always having a lot of very old and special, only half working amps at times. And, amazing old guitars as well for his tones. So that would be also interesting.
And this is sometimes the reason because why it sounds great, because the stuff is not really good working. And it sounds broken, and it is broken. But I think with this fuzz and these different settings, you get these broken amp sounds too.
Right.
So, yeah, try that. And just look on my paper here.
Well,
I have everything what I like to say. I said that.
Yeah, but I have one more thing. I have one more question, because that came also up in the Tim Pierce video, and I was always curious about this because I never had the chance to properly check it out. The Jaguars and the Jazzmasters have this special switching system there. So if I recall it right, the switches at the bottom engage, they switch on the pickups on or off, and the upper ones, because there are some volume knobs as well, the upper one is bypassing the entire circuit. I'm just trying to recall what I read. I don't know if that's true. So that it's bypassing everything, and that you would have then this volume knob for this bypass mode. Is that correct?
To be honest, this is switched off.
All right. Because they mentioned that in that video, John Bollinger also
when
asked Tim Pierce. So what about these shenanigans up here? And so you're getting into this, and then they were doing some things, and it was not really defined. So even someone like these two specialists.
But I think I can bring it together. So what I did, go to my nice guy AC and said, hey, make some P90s in there and turn everything off. I just want to have a switch, three-way toggle switch for both pickups and alone. And here I have a coil tap switch on there. This is off, and the original one has 3 switches where you can switch the pickups. Was that 2 switches or something with 3?
3, you can switch them on, and then with the
one
third
out
switch,
of place, I think, something like that.
Right, exactly.
And here is only when you switch that, I think in the upper position, only the neck pickup is on, and you have volume and tone control. That's what I think was the original wiring on that guitar. But I didn't use that. In a live situation, you won't switch. You just need that one here. This is too fancy.
Because I always thought that maybe this might been the solution to my dilemma, why I ended up with this monolizer pedal, to add another level of volume to bring it down. But there was something, it's fixed to the neck pickup only, and gets pretty dark, I heard. I've never checked it out properly. So.
Fender had some weird wirings and switching, even on the Telecaster, or the first Telecaster, not the Telecaster, the
Broadcaster.
No, with one pickup.
Esquire.
Esquire. Yeah.
Mhm.
One pickup, and they had some filters going on there, and it's just a muffled tone. When you play that, it's when you have some I played some custom shop tallies, and they had this old wiring with a blend pickup and some stuff going on the neck pickup to play bass. So in those older days, they used to play. They don't maybe they don't have a bass player to play the bass notes to have this like I said, woolly tone. And this is really some filter stuff, and you can't use that these days. So this doesn't sound good for me. Some people like that, but not me. So that's why I've turned onto a traditional wiring. With what I like really much is the coil tap function. So you get a little bit less gain. This is on. And this is with the coil tap. So less coil on the pickup, and you get a thinner tone, but not too much thin, and not too like a split pickup on humbucker sound. So I really like the coil tap stuff.
Okay, yeah, and but I think the vibrato and the way the strings are with the Jaguar are a big part of the tone as well.
Yeah, but on that one, I need to place this one here because the strings are really ringing much.
Okay.
If you play here, you hear nothing, but it would sound if I don't have this muffle here on that.
Okay, yeah. Very cool. A lot of insights. Thank you for this journey back in history, because it's always fun to be then reminded and to experience how these things trigger guitarists' memories and tone memories and stuff like that. And again, your approach to get this extra mojo into what could be pretty straightforward and easy. You always have this extra approach where the tones, the rigs become more expressive, I would call it. I said it maybe already too often, but that always amazes me again and again, that you take some extra turns to go there and add this other level of expressiveness. That's really something. Thank you for this.
Welcome.
Especially again, and for the time travel, and see you then next time with the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.